Tucson is a city of astronomy. It has been for decades, and it wasn't until Tucson's population growth in the 1960s that this legacy was threatened. The invention of air conditioning allowed humans to live more comfortably in the desert, and as Tucson grew, light pollution became an issue for the astronomers and their telescopes who surround the city. Light pollution is still a major concern today.
Light pollution is the problem we have in astronomy, where a light source on the ground, shines up into the sky, and the atmosphere scatters the light in all directions. And it can get bad enough that you start having difficulty doing observations from Earth due to this, unwanted light. It adds a background to your observations that needs to be subtracted out, and the brighter that background is, the worse things are. And as you notice, we don't do astronomy unless you're a solar astronomer. You don't do astronomy in the daytime because the sun is so bright it's washed out everything else in the sky. If you get enough lights in a city, it does the same thing to the night sky. Not as badly as the sun works, but bad enough for us not to be able to study faint objects, and most objects in the sky are quite faint.
Light pollution is an intrinsic property of just any sort of city that you're in, just because of the fact that you're going to have street lights and whatnot. So therefore, Tucson certainly is affected.
Major light pollution sources in Tucson vary depending upon time of night, but our aged sports lighting systems typically have a lot of stray light emissions just due to the technology that was available at the time they were installed. Thankfully, the sports lighting goes off at 10 or 11 to where it doesn't interfere with astronomical efforts all throughout the night. But the observatories don't wait until the sports parks turn off. So sports lighting does affect sky glow and astronomical interests. There's been a lot of attrition of old unshielded lighting systems to where the code has literally taken decades to get our lighting to a very high quality throughout the region. But there are still some legacy unshielded industrial lighting applications throughout the vicinity that over the next, we hope, 5 years or so, will all become fully shielded and help mitigate those sky glow contributions. The color of the light affects sky glow propagation, with blue content being the worst, and it scatters in the atmosphere just like sunlight does, which makes our blue skies. So our outdoor lighting code prescribes limits on blue content via a color temperature cap. So between our shielding prescriptions, our moderation of total emitted lumens, and our spectral controls via color temperature, we're touching all three of the bases that the International Astronomical Union has identified. The energy code and the outdoor lighting code and its lumen caps help moderate total light emissions and prevent overlighting.
Like many problems on the citywide scale, voting is a really good way to prevent light pollution from getting out of hand, and voting for ordinances that protect our night sky, voting for politicians that make this part of their agenda.
Keep your light from, whatever light you're using, from shining straight up into the sky, and put it where you need it. Don't put it where you don't need it and is preventing you from looking at the stars.
The public should care about light pollution because, one, it limits your access to something that's been a part of humanity since the beginning of time. Well, maybe not the beginning of time, since the beginning of mankind, because, we've evolved with the stars as like a backdrop. So I think that the fact that so many people can't even see the Milky Way is really a shame, because they really are, it's almost a part of our humanity, is the night sky.